Your numbers just came out about a half hour ago. I think the biggest line is that adjusted EBITDA growth is going to be moving into double digits, something I don't think we've seen from DSM in quite a few years. What's the outlook then? Why are you so bullish?
Good morning, and thank you for having us. Indeed, we have actually ended 2020 on a high. If you look at maybe first our fourth quarter, we have delivered an organic growth of 9%. Our EBITDA is up 10% in nutrition, and in our materials business, we have seen a step up in volumes of 14%. So what we're seeing is that we're going into 2021 with a positive momentum. Now, to your question on the outlook for 2021, it's a combination of both the nutrition part of our company, which is about 80% of DSM, remaining resilient, and a recovery in the materials businesses that have suffered more from the pandemic during 2020. So when you put it together, that does actually look to our EBITDA growth going into double digit and a continuing strong cash generation.
Geraldine, good morning to you. Let's just pick up a little bit on the materials business, as you say. The team have been looking at the language that you use. You're going to develop units in this division into more resilient, higher growth and higher margin specialty business. What exactly does that mean? Does that mean you're downsizing the business in readiness to sell it? Can you confirm your intention is to sell that business?
No, not at all. So maybe to clarify, we have announced a divestment in the autumn of our resins and functional materials business. That is indeed being carved out and will be, hopefully the deal will close in the first half of the year, and those businesses will be going over to Covestro. Now, the remaining materials businesses are excellent businesses in engineering materials, in protective materials, and we actually see this as a very high quality specialty portfolio that will benefit from the recovery of the economy as everybody comes out of the pandemic. So our wording is all about saying that we're seeing, after a year that of course has suffered, particularly due to the automotive end market that we serve, that we would expect a recovery and that we are a specialty player within that space.
But there's lots of interest in your materials business, Geraldine. How do you feel about that asset remaining in the group long term?
Yeah, so we are a nutrition, health, and sustainable living company. In fact, we are a very highly rated ESG stock. And what we see is that both in our nutrition and our materials businesses, we have a very strong innovation power. We're a science-based company. And put together, we're able to drive not only value creation for our shareholders, but also positive impact. So all of these material businesses fit very nicely within the overall DSM direction of nutrition, health, and sustainable living.
So we're curious, part of your business is obviously to do with one of the big themes in COVID. The whole world's gone crazy getting dogs and pets. I haven't capitulated yet. Have you seen any material impact on your animal nutrition business? Is that expanding quite quickly? Anne-Marie's keen for me to get a dog, but it just doesn't seem to be flying at the moment.
Well, firstly, I can highly encourage you to get a dog. They're wonderful companions. I've had a dog for many years. But joking apart, we have actually seen a step up in the number of pets. And there is something very specific, is that pet owners do love them so much that they do tend to focus very much on their nutrition. Now, we are the world's biggest producer of micronutrients. That includes micronutrients for animals. And we see, for instance, that omega-3 is a very important ingredient for our dear animals to have great fur and be great health. So we're seeing good business conditions in pets, but of course our biggest business in animal nutrition is the broader category. It's actually our biggest business within DSM, over 3 billion of turnover, and we've had some new acquisitions in that space as well. So it's all about actually having a very resilient food system in the world that keeps people healthy through the food that they eat.
I'd also like to get a pet alongside Manis. Geraldine, I want to ask about the Fonterra Dairy Company. You're working with them to tackle methane emissions. Are you getting more business inquiries about this in terms of climate change?
Yeah, this is actually a critical innovation. As you're probably aware, the agricultural space contributes about 1/3 to greenhouse gas emissions. And what not many people realize is one of the worst greenhouse gases is actually methane. It's 20 times more potent than CO2. Now, animals burp a lot of methane. That's just the way it is. They're ruminants. Now, with Fonterra, we have signed a cooperation agreement where they're really looking at how to reduce the methane burped by cattle. And we have a feed ingredient that we've developed over multiple years that's been tested on more than 10,000 cows that can reduce that methane by 30%, which is a much quicker and much faster way of reducing the basically greenhouse gas footprints, not only of New Zealand, but around the world. And Fonterra has been signing this agreement. We also have Valio in Finland that we're working with. We have a great big trial in Alberta for beef cattle going on. And this is something which is in the process of registration, which should be completed in 2021. So it's a very exciting year for us on that front.
Geraldine, you've taken us to new heights from pet ownership to cattle burping. Give our viewers a sense of what the demand is like in your business. We're trying to work out whether you're seeing a real spike in real demand, or are people just restocking?
Yes, so here I would be a little bit careful. So in our nutrition business, we see resilient demand, and that has been the case throughout the pandemic. What we will see is an increase in out-of-home eating as societies open up, as the vaccination programs start to really gain scale. And here we will maybe just see the mix of consumption be a bit different between home-prepared meals and out-of-home meals. For animal nutrition, we see good business conditions across the board. We saw them last year. We see them into 2021. Now, for our materials business, I think this is where there's a bit of uncertainty still. What we saw is in Q4 a very nice step up in activity. We have 14% increase in volumes in our engineering materials business, for example, which is related to the automotive sector. But here we do flag the question mark of how much is that a sustained recovery, or whether there is more of a stocking effect going on across the value chain. And I think it will take a little longer for everyone to really be able to tell which one's which.